This video is intended to be an introduction to the academic study of popular culture. It is a brief overview of what popular culture is, along with some hints and explanations about how we're going to approach our study. When figuring out what popular culture is, it's important to look at the words themselves to begin finding our answer. The word popular comes from the Latin word populus, which means simply people. Popular culture is something that is always most importantly related to everyday average people and their experiences of the world. It is a culture that is meant for the general population and that is intended for their tastes and understanding rather than just a select few. This word popular describes a type of culture. Culture is a term that is used in all sorts of different studies, from anthropology to sociology and history. For our purposes, we're using a fairly broad definition of culture. Culture is a way that people are grouped together based on their common behaviors, beliefs, and structures. The culture that you were born into has a lot of influence on your beliefs and the things that you look forward to throughout your life. Often, a person's culture is determined by their geographical region, such as America or Japan or Brazil. However, there is a wide variation of culture within a geographical region, so that cultures can be broken down into even smaller groups that are connected by their social lives and outlook on the world. When you put these two words together, you get popular culture, a culture that is intended to represent the common and everyday experiences of a people. When it comes to the types of things we will be studying, we will be focusing on things that most people would be familiar with and have some experience of. On this list, those would be the things that are generally considered middle and low culture. Though there is absolutely nothing wrong with the things that are considered high culture, and I enjoy many of those a great deal, we're not going to be spending much time with the things in the high culture category. Often, those are things that education covers in much greater detail than the things we will focus on in popular culture. The judgment that has been made in creating the chart that you see here is a judgment of quality and importance rather than popularity. Often, the things considered high culture are things that important people consider to be of high quality and that have a lasting impact on our culture. These things are wonderful, but few of us really experience them every day. However, the things in the middle and low categories are the types of things we do have daily experience with, even though we might not usually make the case that they have important lasting cultural impact. In studying popular culture, we'll see that these things still have value, even if they're destined to be forgotten as new things become popular and tastes change. Popular culture is important to study because whenever you want to know more about a group of people, you need to look closely at how they act and what things they surround themselves with every day. This reveals what they care about and how they think, even if they don't realize it at the time. In our own popular culture, our values are shown by what we buy, how we entertain ourselves, and what we spend our time doing. However, because we are going about our lives every day, we don't even realize how much of our inner thoughts and beliefs are revealed in our everyday choices. For example, when looking at this picture of Pilgrim Barbie, a person might say that it's just a toy, so it doesn't really matter. However, when it comes to studying popular culture, there is no such thing as just a toy or just entertainment. Everything matters, and everything asks us to look deeper into it as an artifact of our culture. So, rather than say that this Barbie is just a toy, we will ask questions about what this toy says about the culture from which it comes. For example, why would we make a toy to represent a historical period when that toy is so historically inaccurate? Is it because we don't really know history, or because we wish to represent our history incorrectly? Why is a woman made to look this way when it is proportionally inaccurate to how a woman actually appears? Often, it is a discussion we're after rather than a concrete answer. There is no clear and obvious answer as to why Pilgrim Barbie exists. However, in asking the questions, we force our minds to really focus on this object and think deeply about our culture. Often, this process of thinking and asking questions can be difficult because it asks that everybody take everyday life seriously, which we're often too busy and preoccupied to do. The quotation you see here is from the book Rethinking Popular Culture and Media, and it explains that everybody is connected to popular culture. It reads, "In many ways, popular culture is the Polaroid snapshot or Facebook photo page that documents our lives in the social world. It is a backdrop of day-to-day life, and its power is both diffuse and indisputable. From Disney to Barbie to MySpace, youth today navigate a range of popular culture and media." The authors of Rethinking Popular Culture want to really make sure that everybody understands that popular culture is powerful, though that power is diffuse. That means that the power isn't the kind we even notice. We notice the power that politicians have and the decisions they make because that power is centralized and overt. But the power that popular culture wields is spread out and mostly hidden from our sight. However, that power is still very real and affects everybody. This quotation specifically mentions youth culture, but there is no age group that isn't deeply connected with popular culture. Even the youngest babies watch television and play with toys that are licensed products of film companies, and even the oldest of our citizens watch television and read magazines. We're using popular culture to consume information that we use to guide our lives. And we use popular culture to express those lives and what we wish people to know about us. Though we are going to be studying popular culture throughout this semester, there are a few things to keep in mind about popular culture, no matter what the topic is that we will be studying. Number one, everything matters. Popular culture focuses on artifacts that may sometimes be called trivial or simply entertainment. But when studying popular culture, those kinds of distinctions aren't our main concern. Number two, everything changes. What was once considered popular is now often considered high culture. For example, in the day of Shakespeare, people flocked to his plays because they were violent, sexy, and fun. Today, we often consider Shakespeare plays to be fancy affairs that we get dressed up to go see. Number three, power. The artifacts of popular culture often ultimately show you what the most powerful forces in your lives are. Often, these are forces that you have no control over and are largely strangers to. For example, corporate boards of very wealthy people make decisions that affect you every day, and you don't even know who those people are. And number four, popular culture is a business. Popular culture is often concerned with products and economics. For example, Coca-Cola and Pepsi are artifacts of popular culture, and they are products that are trying to sell themselves through advertising and social media, which are strong conduits of popular culture. Now that we've mostly gotten through what popular culture is and what sorts of things we're going to study, we need to think about our own approach and what sorts of things we are going to do as a group and as a class. These are ways to get the most out of your learning and out of the readings for this semester. First, always keep an open mind. Even if the thing we're reading about or discussing is something that really gets you emotionally engaged, try not to either shut out what the article says or get so worked up that you can't really follow the article. I haven't selected articles specifically for shock value, but I know that some of them come from perspectives that might cause strong reactions. Next, try to think about the big picture. Sometimes an article will focus on a really particular object or idea, but our job as readers is to think about what the big picture is that this small idea really connects to. For example, if we look closely at a Barbie doll, as we did a few slides ago, we know that it's a doll, but in the big picture of things, it connects with patriotism and femininity and selling products to children, which are all very large and important ideas. Also, try to focus on the central idea of the reading. The main thesis is important to keep in mind. What is the very basic idea that the author is trying to convey to you as a reader? After you've really focused on the main ideas, think about how well the ideas are presented. What kind of explanation or evidence is being offered? Does the author give lots of examples of the idea and the conclusions that the writer has come to? When possible, try to connect the ideas to your own life. You may have a very different approach than the author does, and that is really valuable. Think about how what the author writes about or says is relevant to your own experience. This makes the ideas they're sharing really resonate with us. Finally, don't demand scientific proof. This is a class of the humanities, so it is not concerned with quantifying evidence. The lack of scientific studies does not mean that evidence is absent. In most of the articles we are reading, the evidence presented for the author's claim is qualitative. There aren't statistics and percentages. Don't feel that this means the ideas are any less valid, though. There are differing ways of presenting information in the sciences compared with the humanities. In this class, things are bound to get a little sticky. That is, a bit uncomfortable. This is because we're talking about things that people spend a lot of time with and often connect with in a very strong way. For example, if you are somebody who is deeply emotionally connected with sports, you might feel uncomfortable looking at the ways that sports have negative influences in our society. Please keep in mind that when you feel uncomfortable, that's often a sign that the discussion is getting close to your own experience and you're afraid of looking too closely because you don't want to change your own beliefs or behaviors. Fear can often be a powerful motivator, but if this happens to you, please remember that you have choice. The articles that we read may influence you and they may not. That choice is entirely up to you, and the power is ultimately your own. I do, however, request that you keep an open mind so that you can really think about what's important, or at least central, in each article. As you keep an open mind, you will have the experience to really learn from what other people say and other people's experience of popular culture, and that often helps us to enrich our own